All right, welcome back. It is a thirsty Thursday on Liquid Lunch. I'm thirsty. You open yourself up a cold one and stay tuned. It's the news with the booze. And we held them over because we got a lot to talk about. Dion Powell still with us. He's Democratic candidate for New York State Assembly, 79th District in the Bronx. Dion, thanks for hanging around with us. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, John.
I want to ask you something, and I'm not asking you about your vote, but this guy, Joe Biden, was on the Breakfast Club with this other guy, Charlemagne the God, who also pled guilty to a lesser charge, but he was accused of rape, this Charlemagne the God. And Joe Biden said these words that I thought were probably one of the most racist things I ever heard. He said, if you're not sure if you're voting for me or Donald Trump, then you ain't black. Doesn't that kind of say, like, all you black people have to vote for me, Joe Biden?
That is disgusting, John. Don't get me started on that situation. Of course, our votes are taken for granted. We're going to vote Democrat regardless. So everything else is evil. If you don't vote Democrat in this town, Donald Trump will eat you. Just like AOC parenting us, y'all. It's like everybody thinks that if we don't vote Democrat, we won't have power, control, or influence or anything. They make us think that our vote is the most precious and powerful thing in America. Meanwhile, we need to focus it locally to fix our own local cities and townships, right?
No
Because
doubt.
all these votes from black people united across the country doesn't really make as much dent because we have this electoral college process. But they keep trying to make us think that we have all this power and privilege when actually it is use our vote and just make us go away, have us register to vote, have us walk away. Then after that, everybody else controls the process on the top, whereas we're below as the foot soldiers, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've been saying this for a couple of months now that most of the things that affect the minority communities, bad schools, bad hospitals, bad health care, that's all. Most of those inner cities are run primarily by left-wing Democrats, right? They come around every 4 years telling everybody how you gotta, like you said, that vote's important. You gotta give it to us. We're here fighting for you. You got a guy like Joe Biden who's been fighting supposedly for 40 years, and nothing's really changed significantly until Donald Trump came in. And I tend to feel like when it comes to the Democratic Party, it's not that black lives matter, it's black votes matter. That's all they really care about, is they want to make sure that you just hand them your vote and what you get back is as little as possible. That's how I see it.
Well, I'll put it out there. I've been called sellout, Uncle Tom, all my life. So I'm not scared to speak truth to powers, especially in my own culture. And not only do black votes matter, black money matters as well. But more importantly, black poverty matters. Because as long as they can keep us so poor, dependent, and dumb, and think that anything other than Democrat is evil, we'll always be in the same cycle, right? And they make so much money off our poverty, have so much power and control of us and our thought process because of our poverty with all the social programs. But these are buzzwords that make me sound Republican, but they're true. All the people in charge of all our social services here in New York City, quite frankly, are not black. Quite frankly, are white, if you want to call it that. Whereas they have all the black people like me as case managers. They get denies access to three things, John. They get denies access to property, denies access to capital, and denies access to leadership of our community. Because if we had these three things, we wouldn't need them. We wouldn't be so dependent on them for all things that we need in these lives. A couple of select black people are in key places, but if they don't have the people on the ground like us that have access to capital, leadership, and ownership, they can go nowhere. They still need this whole system to keep us poor and enable them to be in power forever and do whatever they want and tell us the new Green Deal is the best thing in the world, where we're not on top of the food chain making the leadership of the contracts and the money to control our own destiny here in our communities.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw this video today in the New York Post, on the New York Post website, but they're supposedly peacefully protesting for social injustice, racial equality, all that good stuff, which everyone's pretty much in line with that. But caught on videotape right a few blocks away from the rally yesterday, here's a guy handing out baseball bats to the protesters. I don't think there was a Little League game going on the Brooklyn Bridge yesterday.
No, we had the same situation in the Bronx, and I was invited too because I'm on different black organizations, E-Blast and text blasting research, New York City, National Action Network, and Black Lives Matter. And basically, they went up to Morris Park, which is predominantly Italian and Albanian section of the Bronx, because they were having a rally pro NYPD, support the blue. So their counter protest was to go up there, to have people down the line going at with each other. And of course, things sometimes gets violent because a lot of people don't understand that in different communities other than mine, people protect themselves. They have a right to protect themselves and organize. So for me, it's like, well, you're going up there and you're causing violence and it's making you look bad, but you're trying to control the narrative as it was to make them look bad. But outside looking in, if you're educated and seeing what's going on, these people have right to organize just like you have right to organize. If they came to the hood protesting and supporting the police, you would be extremely angry. But seeing as though Black Lives Matter is a hot topic and a very big moneymaker and attention grabber for certain people, you have to keep perpetuating this to keep people like me in the hood saying, fight the power, when in actuality, you're destroying our community and you're giving more people in the Black Lives Matter who control them more power and authority to tell us what to think in terms of policy. All the things they're outlining for us with the Black Lives Matter movement is happening so reactionary, it's going to hurt us long term. Like when they tried to close Rikers, and they told us that was the greatest idea in the world. You see what I'm saying? But then you have Black people like me writing the policy and control the contracting that went behind it, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so, one of the things that I think they've done very cleverly, this group of Marxists and anarchists that they call hashtag capital Black Lives Matter, what I've been saying is this. If you say the sentence, hey, Black Lives Matter, I think everyone agrees with that sentence, right? All lives matter, but hell yeah, you better believe it, Black Lives Matter, as a sentence. But when you put a hashtag in front of it and put it in all caps and it becomes a movement, Black Lives Matter is hard to jump on the bandwagon when the people running it are self-avowed Marxists. They're saying they want to break down the nuclear family. They don't want a nuclear family, and that's what the country was founded on.
Right. So if you take Candace Owens is the perfect example and the perfect target for this, right? Because she points out the inconsistencies with the Black Lives Matter movement, which does focus on the family structure, economic development, uplifting your community, and pointing out the disparities of all the people that support Black Lives Matter, but all the communities they come from don't really support the narrative holistically of how Black Lives Matter. Policing ourselves, disciplining each other, manners, economic development, supporting our Black-owned businesses. In Atlanta and beyond, a lot of Black-owned businesses were destroyed by Black people, which hurts their families as well. So for people like me who are in the know, who have education, who want to help our community, this doesn't make sense.
No.
Black Lives Matter here, and over here it does not.
No doubt about it. It's a tricky situation, my brother, but keep up the good fight. If you need us, you got to get the message out there on anything. Reach out to Nico, my team, anytime. The door's always open for you, too. That's Dion Powell, candidate for New York State Assembly in the 79th District in the Bronx. Now we're going to show how smart we are when we mix it up. Bill Cortez, military veteran, and Lisa Durden, BLM supporter and advocate. We'll mix it up for you right here on Liquid Lunch.